before I talk about Jarrod Bowen and his contract situation at West Ham, which does seem like it's taking a turn for the better, really seems like good news. I just want to talk about Man City. Well, say congratulations to Man City. Really, I watched it on YouTube, and I don't know why. It was for some reason I left the comments switched on. It was really interesting when Manchester City won the trophy. Immediately, a load of comments of just people trying to sort of put them down and diminish their achievement. And it sort of reminded me of what had happened to us and what I'd heard a lot, not so much on YouTube, but on TalkSport. There were a lot of fans of rival London clubs, I think, in particular. Not Crystal Palace and Brentford and people like that, because clearly they would aspire to win the Conference League and to win a trophy. It was very much Arsenal, Tottenham and Chelsea. And they were really trying to sort of demean what West Ham had done. Not all the fans. I do remember there was one Tottenham fan trying to argue the case and saying, "Well, hold on, this is actually we could do with winning this ourselves." But and there was another Tottenham fan on there saying, "Oh, I work with a load of West Ham people, and they won't stop talking about it for the next 100 years if they win." I get that as well. It's just rivalry. He's probably right. We probably won't stop talking about it. Hopefully not. Anyway, but I just found it really interesting watching Manchester City's, and almost immediately there were Man United fans on there. It's not as good as our treble. You were boring. You bored the pants off everyone, and it's quite funny because I remember that 1999 final actually, and Bayern Munich were all over Man United, all over. I'm not suggesting for a moment you go back and watch it again. And that big bald striker up front for Bayern Munich, he was causing them all kinds of havoc. Make no mistake about it. It was Man United sitting back and soaking up the pressure in that. Liverpool fans go on there sort of demeaning it, and you know what? And a lot of people go on and reminding Man City, basically saying, "Well, you're going to be brought back down to earth because of your financial issues and all the rest of it." Well, you know what? They may well have done financial wrongdoing, quite possibly. It weren't the fans that did it anyway. I just find it, quite an interesting insight. But I've got to be honest with you, I was pleased for him, and I was actually pleased because what I noticed in both games was there's a lot of play acting. I've been back and obviously, started to digest a lot more of the West Ham stuff in terms of watching the game on TV. There was a lot. There were a lot of play acting there from the Fiorentina players, and there was a lot of play acting going on there for those Inter Milan players. And I can't claim to have watched the Roma and Sevilla game. I didn't, but they've reached 3 finals. They're Italian teams, and they keep doing it. And I think I'm pleased it doesn't work and it hasn't worked, and so. But I also think looking at the game, I don't think Man City were very good. I thought they needed some luck. And you know what? And they got it in a big moment. Someone stepped up, and it's exactly what happened with West Ham as well. I don't think our game was a classic game, but as I mentioned, and it was to coin the phrase by the fella, I keep forgetting his name, who appeared on Gio's video. There's a mentality in Italy. They say you don't play a final, you win a final. And you know what? West Ham went and won a final, and so did Man City. And good luck to them. Congratulations to them, and congratulations to us, and also congratulations to Jarrod Bowen in particular, because it looks like Jarrod has agreed. He's going in for talks about a new contract, and he wants to stay at West Ham. This is hugely important for us at West Ham. I did a video just before the final saying it was problematic because actually the term of his contract expired exactly the same time as Declan Rice's. And he's a hugely important player for us. And now certainly his stock has risen since I did that video, because we've won the Europa Conference League, and he's got the game-winning goal. But it was really interesting. In fact, before I talk about what was interesting, let me just see if I can find it. I thought I'd actually pulled it up. There some really nice comments from him. Unequivocal comments. I love this club, and I just want to keep playing for this club. Those are his comments. And then I believe ex-West Ham United employee, possibly on his podcast, as said, the fans love me and I love them, which I think is really great. That's good news to hear. I've been watching. Danny Dyer has been popping up. Danny Dyer Senior, not Jarrod's missus, has been popping up on YouTube quite a lot. I think there was a soccer aid thing. I've been really enjoying sort of listening to some of his videos as well, and he's clearly really chuffed. And with West Ham's win, being a West Ham fan. Funny, a little story actually. I remember seeing at the 2006 final, when we went to Cardiff, I remember seeing Danny Dyer with Ray Winstone. I remember seeing them both together, and I did actually want to go up and say hello, but you don't want to sort of interrupt their day. They're having a good time. Didn't need some starstruck idiot going up and saying hello to him. But it was. But I like Danny. I think he's great, and it was really interesting listening to one of the videos I heard. He was talking about Jarrod, and he said Jarrod doesn't get nervous. Talking about Jarrod Bowen, and this was clear, and it actually took me back to a documentary that I had watched some years ago, and it was about sort of great sportsmen. I mean, at the top of the tree, the elite level. Michael Jordan, Michael Schumacher, other people that aren't called Michael. I don't know what I'm that for. Federer, just top sportsmen. And they were talking about them in the moment and everything slowing down and being calm. And I thought of them when I was, not at the time when Jarrod Bowen scored, I was jumping around trying not to get Jaeger bomb all over me, but and then blubbing and bursting into tears and all sorts of stuff was happening. But in hindsight, looking back at it, it was interesting to think about Jarrod Bowen. Cometh the hour, cometh the man, and all that stuff. And I just thought that was the pivotal moment. You've got to have ice in your veins. And this is what the top sportsmen have when it comes to the crunch and a game is there to be won. And it doesn't matter whether it's the final shot in a 147 break to win the world championship or whatever the case may be, the final dart, the final basket that you put in to win the NBA playoffs or whatever the case may be. That is what separates the truly elite sportsman from the also-rans. And Jarrod Bowen, I think, absolutely announced himself as a big-time player then. Absolutely. When it came to the crunch, he was there. Not just him, by the way, not just him. In that moment, Paqueta as well with the pass. Also, Said Benrahma. I don't want to say this, but I wasn't surprised about Said Benrahma. The pressure to take a penalty in a European final is immense. It's absolutely huge. And just at those top moments, the top players excel. Man City's goalkeeper, funny enough, in that case. Outstanding. Probably their man of the match. Who'd have thought that? Aside Benrahma, I remember mentioning it. I think it was a Man City game. I think we had a penalty shootout. I think it was Man City. And I can't remember. I think Said Benrahma took the first penalty. And I think Mark Noble took the fifth. It might have been the other way round. So you'd have to excuse me if I got that slightly wrong. I remember saying at the time, I did the review with Gio, and I said, that takes some balls to do both of those. That, I'm not saying number 2, 3 and 4. You don't need balls to take penalties. You've seen a lot of times, how many times we watched England and you think, oh, such and such is going to take a penalty. They don't want to take it. They sort of, they bottle it. They do. You've got to have something about you to step up. And not only step up, to remain calm in the moment. And not just take a penalty and score a penalty, but do it with impeccable technique. So Benrahma stepped up in that moment in many respects. He would have had more time to think about it than even Bowen did. So you got the two elements of a big moment in a match there. You got the instinct, Paqueta and Bowen. Then you got the thought, the ice cold, the filtering all the noise out. And I thought Benrahma did fantastically in there. But yeah, anyway, back to Bowen, because Bowen's the story, because of his contractual situation. Bowen is one of our most important players. He absolutely is. And if you'd have asked, last season, end of this season, there's a few players who are just pivotal to the way West Ham play. And obviously Declan would be one of them. Clearly he's off. Zuma, certainly Bowen, and Antonio. And they're all pretty important to West Ham and the way we play. Now listen, actually I think two are off this season. But we'll get to that other stuff in another video. But Bowen is an incredibly important player, and it's really important that we tie him down. That's the sort of mentality of him scoring that goal, mentality and ability, let's get that right, that I would hope would have Gareth Southgate looking at it thinking, okay, what am I missing? What am I missing in terms of that final thing to get over the final hurdle for an England team, basically? And I do wonder if Gareth Southgate's looked at Bowen's performance then and looked at him in a European final, thought, right, I need to try and get him in my squad. Look, will he start ahead of Saka on the right side of midfield for England? Probably not. But he has to be a major option off the bench and certainly somebody in the squad. I think if you were looking at the other option, you look at people like Jadon Sancho and stuff like that, I just don't think you could, for all the money and for all he's worth, I actually think possibly the opposite of Sancho. I think Sancho has gone to a really big club in Manchester United and he hasn't flourished because possibly, and I don't know this, it maybe just hasn't worked out for him, maybe he'll go on and have a fantastic career, but possibly, just possibly, he doesn't have that top-class mentality, if you want. I think Bowen's got it, and it's incredibly important. And as I understand it, the discussion is that he would be amongst our top players in terms of wages, and so he should be. That's absolutely right. For too long at this club, we have paid players massive wages who weren't the best players at the club. And I'm not going to pick out names because there's one or two at the club at the moment earning amongst the top wages who aren't the best players. And I do think it has to be that. I think the best players probably got to be the highest earner, and he'll be there. It'll be him or Zuma. Either him or Zuma will be our top players. I think once the other guys have probably left. So I think it's great news. I'm absolutely delighted. I just love those words. Right, I'm just reading. I love this club. And I just want to keep playing for this club. There's no grey area there. There's no grey area. That's, you understand why Declan's saying the things he's got to say, which is, that's just speculation. And look, he tries to get off on a technicality. I understand it. I don't blame Declan at all. But he says, look, I've got 2 years left on my contract and I love this club. The rest you'll have to ask the owners. It's up to West Ham what they do. Those are the type of things he said. That's very different to, I love this club, I just want to keep playing for this club. Okay, well, that's absolutely great. It's a conversation for another day because it does bring into question Said Benrahma's place in the team. And that's the acquisition of Harvey Barnes, who like Bowen as an absolute workhorse, but on the other side. And we're going to need a big squad. We're in Europe again. So, I mean, there's something that David Moyes, I wished would have done more, which is rotate a little bit more. But maybe Moyes had lost complete faith for whatever reason, for any number of reasons, with Maxwell Cornet. So I'd like to see it rotated a little bit more. So Harvey Barnes comes in. That doesn't mean I want Benrahma to go. I think Benrahma has earned himself, absolutely the right to stay at West Ham. And I really do. But I do think we need competition for places, it's certainly in those areas. But anyway, Jarrod Bowen signing a new deal at West Ham. Let's get it done. Let's get it done quick. A lot of this stuff has to happen quickly. Otherwise, we are going to lose out on our targets. All right? The director of football has to come in quickly. David Moyes' future has to be decided quickly. Is he staying? Is he going? Whatever happens, it needs to be decided quickly. Declan Rice, it needs to be done quickly. If what we're relying on those funds for us to spend money, it needs to be done quickly. A lot of this stuff has to be. Jarrod Bowen's contract, let's get it done quickly. I don't want to see a whole sequence of events where it keeps getting put off. As I understand it, by the way, at the point of recording this, I understand Sullivan and David Moyes had their meeting. Because obviously yesterday's video did the video about that Sullivan wasn't sure whether Moyes was going to commit to West Ham or not. It appears that Moyes has indicated he wants to stay and see out the last year of his career. Now, regardless of whether you think that is a good or a bad thing, or whether you want Moyes to stay or whether you want Moyes to go, that I hope would hurry up our pursuit of players. Because if that's what we want, if what we want is going to get Harvey Barnes, then Harvey Barnes needs to know who he's going to be playing under. The manager has to, sanction a deal, whatever. Any of this stuff, all that stuff has to happen because they've already started. Look, Aston Villa they've already signed Yuri Tillemans, and So, they're not waiting around. And it was quite funny, actually, just to go back to what I said at the start of the video about the poo-pooing of the Conference League. Aston Villa really want to win that. And I think a lot of people have been saying from a lot of the London clubs, maybe the big three London clubs, if you want to call them that. Look, it's a tin pot. It's not worth that. It's beneath them. That's what they're saying. The Europa Conference League is beneath them. Well, Aston Villa won't think it's beneath them. Emery's got a really good record in Europe, but he'll want to win that trophy. He'll value it just in the same way that Mourinho valued it. David James said it best. He said he thought that the Europa Conference League was basically the Carling Cup of Europe. And I think he's right. Do you know what? I'll take that. I will absolutely take that. And I think for each club it's slightly different. I can understand Chelsea turning their noses up at it. They've won much bigger trophies. All right, they really have. And they probably need the season of transition for the new manager to get his feet under the table. I'm quite sure Chelsea will be back contesting it at the top level. Arsenal, to a lesser extent, they'll be pleased that they've qualified for the Champions League. Don't get me wrong. I'm not poo-pooing the Champions League, far from it. But I think Arsenal are kidding themselves if they think they're happy that they haven't won a trophy. Let's be fair, they were a long way ahead in that Premier League, and they've capitulated a bit there. So actually, I think winning the trophy, not that they were in the Conference League, but winning the trophy might not be the worst thing in the world for them to do. And Tottenham, I just think, are a completely different case entirely. I might have this wrong. I think Tottenham have not won a trophy since 2008. Tottenham are in no position at all to start being fussy and selective and saying we don't want that trophy because that's not an elite trophy. Well, Tottenham haven't won any trophy, be it elite or not, for a long, long time. That they're not capable of winning an elite trophy. So if what they're saying is we'd rather have no trophy than that one, then okay, that's up to them. But I wouldn't agree with that. Again, what Jose Mourinho said, he was pleased to win the Conference League because it gets them into the habit of winning. I don't know whether that's true or not, but it felt good to win it, right? Felt really good to win that trophy. So anyway. Whatever. If that's what those other clubs think, that's what they think. It certainly hasn't diminished my enjoyment of it. But I did find it interesting. That interesting dynamic, that mentality to as soon as Man City win it, people just trying to pull them down. Give them a reality check. Yeah, interesting one. But we don't have to worry about that. They won a European trophy. We won a European trophy. Hey, look, they won the best European trophy. That's great. We won the Carling Cup version of Europe. I'm more than happy with that. I'll tell you what, I'm really, really happy with that, actually. Onwards and upwards. And I'll tell you what, that onwards and upwards looks like it will be including, hopefully, fingers crossed, Jarrod Bowen.